Welcome back to Morning Coffee with Tim, Season 2, Episode 6. It's cold outside. This lady is from Carrickmore. She got here, the road's like a bottle, but I appreciate you coming. An amazing guest, Annette Kelly, aka Little Penny Thoughts.
What an intro.
How are you?
Tim, I'm good. I was slipping and sliding all over the place
I know.
to get here, but by hook or by crook, I was going to be here for Morning Coffee with Tim. What do we have?
Morning Coffee with Tim and Annette.
Morning Coffee with Timbo and Annette.
Obviously. Well, we're having a flat white, but BYOC, bring your own cup.
Bring your own cup. You told me to bring my own cup.
I did.
And you know what?
Talk to me about it.
That is pretty standard procedure for me. I used to be a primary school teacher.
Right, okay.
And there's kind of
I think I didn't know that.
Well, now you do. So it's kind of staff room etiquette, right? That everyone has their own cup.
Stealing cups would be a big thing, I would say. Like
it's kind of
cardinal sin.
Hygiene thing, but also people are very, just
protective
of their cups,
I get that.
But, when I was a sub teacher, subs sometimes come in and they don't know that this is the rule. And they sometimes yoink someone's cup and you're sitting there and you're like, you can't take Mrs. Such and Such's cup, But anyway, I learnt that the hard way.
Yes.
And then now, anywhere I go when we're having coffee this morning, I was like, I wonder if they're going to have any cups. And I kind of went back to my teaching days, so I decided I'm going to BYOC.
Go on, bring it in. There used to be branded cups.
This is my new Christmas cup.
Oh,
it's
nice.
Not Christmas, it's New Year cup.
Yeah, New Year cup, love it.
It's actually from mud, and I got it at a wee fair I did before Christmas.
It looks handmade.
It's handmade by mud, right?
Lovely.
And what do you call class? Look at all the wee men
skiing
down the slopes. I've never been skiing.
Oh yeah, there's slopes on the cup, kind of.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like as if they're skiing. So
wow. That's a lovely cup. So are you gonna pour it? Okay, go ahead.
Can I pour my flat white on here? Because I like actually drinking from a nice mug.
You done well there.
It's kind of bring your own mug. BYOM.
Yes.
No?
Well, cup or mug, either or.
What would you call this?
I'd call that a mug, like.
This is a mug.
Aye.
And this is a...
It's a hardy mug.
It's a big-ass mug.
Yeah, it's a big mug. It's actually very nice. Maybe I should make that a tradition that people bring their own cup. I used to have like branded cups here, but then I would just go get flat white. See, I used to make like coffee in the kitchen downstairs, and I was like, this is not what Tim's about. Like,
you know what, it's
Morning Coffee with Tim got to be good coffee.
Not that I count this as work. This is an absolute joy to be here.
So
but
much.
Back in the day when I did go to work as a sub teacher, BYOC was bring your own cup was a must because you wanted to keep in with the staff,
Aye.
So that's a wee tip to any new teachers out there.
Bring your own cup.
Bring your own cup.
Or bring your own mug.
Whatever you call it.
I love that.
Bring your own
vessel.
Container.
And I love that. But
this is lovely.
Yeah, here. The coffee? Unfortunately in Fintna we're not spoiled for choice. We've got 64 pubs, not many coffee shops.
Well, maybe that's something you could consider.
Yeah. But the barista are frank and honest. I always say both because I don't want to.
Yep. You don't want to offend. Let's not offend.
No.
And here, this is a good flat white.
Yeah, that's
for
good.
Amila Sheila.
I'm glad. But first off, while we're on the subject of coffee, I always ask all my guests. Also, I do want to talk about why. I seen you look down there, and we'll get to that. Why you have 1989 on your jumper? Actually, tell me
not planned.
Tell me now.
So it's so not planned.
Because I'll forget to ask that. Because I do want to realise, why is it just a random year?
No, literally picked up because I love sage green. Right?
Don't we all?
And I didn't.
Great colour.
It's very soothing, very calming.
I love it.
But basically, I picked this up because of the colour. Cheers. Cheers to the mic there, okay?
Chin.
Basically, I picked it up because of the colour. Didn't really look at the numbers on it.
Mm-hmm.
Got home and realised it was 1989, the year of my birth. And I was like, that's just fate. And also, like Taylor Swift. I'm not a big Swiftie, but...
No, what's the link with her in 1989?
She is born 1989. And she's an album that's absolutely mega. It's 1989.
Right.
So sometimes I haven't wore it that much, but anytime I have wore it, we Swifties be like, oh Taylor, 1989,
right,
and it's like, no, it's just
no.
It's just by coincidence the whole thing here.
Yeah. But you do like Taylor Swift?
I love Taylor, and here if anyone's any tickets going, I'd love to
Right, we'll give Annette a shout.
Yeah, I am a Swiftie.
Have you got any tickets going? I'm not really, but I do like summer music. I know all the classics. I don't know about you, feeling 22 and all that there. Like.
Aye, well, I'm a long way from 22, but
you and me both.
At the end of the day, right, Taylor Swift is an icon. Her tunes are lethal.
I think she's had a wild change since. Do you remember when she used to just be like, wee innocent things, just strumming the guitar, wee country.
Curly hair. See, that's what happens. People underestimate country girls.
Yeah.
Never underestimate.
Country music's...
Never underestimate a country woman.
No, on a hype, like, at the minute.
No, absolutely not. And they're not wee
Bumpkins.
girls and guitars. They're absolute icons.
Icons.
That's what I have to say about
Absolutely. Shout out Taylor Swift. She's listening. But bringing it back...
Hey.
Bringing it back to coffee.
Yes, but sure, you're wearing Nike.
Yes, thank you so much for
and
mentioning that.
See,
this wasn't a coincidence, this was planned.
But I also see the tick is made out of coffee beans.
Yes.
So you take your coffee obsession pretty serious.
Well, this was actually a gift. Shout out Aaron McCann. Gifted me this, him and his family. Gifted me this present. Because they seen it, and it was like a part of your daily routine, little coffee guy hanging out in the beans here. And then it says comfort for your soul. But no, sweeten your soul, but it's soul like sole of your shoe.
Sweet.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
There's a lot going on there.
McCann knows me very well.
Shout out to McCann.
Shout out to McCann. Anyone else?
Aye.
If you've got any Taylor Swift tickets, get us on it. But what do we talk? Coffee experiences. So I like to call it the sip experience.
Oh, why?
I know it sounds deeper than it is. It's just really like, has there been any moment or any coffee shop that you've went into that you've been like, that was really nice.
Well,
this was a really nice moment.
I'll bring it back.
Talk to me.
To the
89? Hardly. You weren't in the flat whites at 89. Yeah.
Only on the milk them days.
Yeah.
Anyway, so 2013, I was in Australia for a year.
Okay.
And I never tasted coffee in my life. Like, it was tea or water.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That's what was offered at home here. I got a taste for coffee in Australia, in Melbourne, St Kilda. Can't remember the wee coffee joint, but I remember getting a taste for this unbelievable coffee. And we always went to the Hutch. It is, but you know what? Like, fast forward 10 years at home here, there's equally as amazing places. You know, well, maybe my taste buds have changed and I forget the Australian taste, but that's where I got my first taste of coffee. And I'm not a snob in any area of my life at all. Pretty laid back, pretty low maintenance. But do you see, my friend, when it comes to coffee, I am a coffee snob, and I'm a proud coffee snob. You know?
Yeah, only drink the good stuff.
Well, like, yes and no.
Well, you're drinking a barista bar, which would be classified as like a lower, it's out of a machine.
Yes.
It's not made with love. Which I like.
Well, it depends the intention. Like, when you press that button,
how are you feeling?
This morning you thought, this is for Annette.
I was rushing.
You're like, this is going to be the best coffee this machine's ever made. But like, when we talk about independent coffee stores and real, there's just some that...
The smell, the machine, the people working there. I think the barista makes a big, it's a big part of my coffee experience. See, even like the noises and all. I don't know, I love it.
But like, there's baristas you just know the good ones. Like, and you know the bad and you know what? I'll hold my hands up and say I was a barista in training once and I didn't make it because I simply did not have the technique. I didn't have the skill. I used to work part-time in the kitchen an odd time.
Yes.
When I got the call up from Kate.
Yes. But someone was telling me that recently. I didn't know that.
Awesome.
Shout out the kitchen.
Shout out the kitchen. Shout out to Kate.
Yeah.
And that's where my love affair with coffee actually started.
So how long did you work in there for?
Well, it was on and off. Like, it wasn't any set time.
All right, just whenever you were needed.
And, when it was needed,
I get you.
Just whenever Kate wanted me. Just an odd time, But Oscar, Kate's son in the kitchen, makes a mean, lean cup of coffee.
Aye.
Shout out to Oscar. But he would always be the one that can Oscar make the coffee, But I would have tried to.
Was that not offensive did anyone else find it offensive?
Well, I would just have a word in Oscar's ear. I would never have been like.
So right.
It wasn't like, when the hairdressers can Mary only do my hair.
No, but I think that's fine.
No, I don't.
There's only one guy cutting my hair, like.
I don't want to offend Jacinta.
No, but here, your barber's like part of your family. Or your
Fair enough.
hairdresser's like part of your family.
Fair enough. But let's get back to the coffee
Aye,
here.
sorry.
And that's okay. I
I
understand.
seen me barber in the shop. I was actually buying a flat white.
Class.
Great guy. Shout out Dave. Right.
There's so many shout outs. This is just shout out
It is.
central.
Shoot, like the yellow pages.
But
right?
basically, in the kitchen, that's where I fell in love with coffee. Love the kitchen coffee. Oscar making it elite, and now Jarlath's equally is elite.
Great, yeah.
And I don't even question who makes it now. I'm only bantering.
Yeah.
But back in the day, down in Castle Street, I tried my hand at the machine, and I was shockingly shite. So it's not as easy as it looks. So I have empathy for baristas in training, because I wasn't letting near that machine.
No, I get it. I don't know how they do it without. See the latte art. I tried it one time, Park and Nature and Co. Shout out Nature and Co. And Park, but I was amazing spot. But I was doing the latte art, and I was like missing the cup, and like hand was shaking. I was like, they make it look so easy that
and it's not easy. It's hard,
it's not,
and it's concentration. That's something that I severely lack in
life.
Yeah. But you know what? So that's Oma. So like kitchen, nature.
Oh, we're gonna go through
lethal.
every region.
So if I used to live in, as my father called it, Belfast. Used to live up by Belfast.
The big smoke.
The big smoke. And like during college days, I wouldn't have drank coffee. Remember, that was pre-Oz days.
Yeah. I wouldn't have either, to be fair, at uni.
But when I lived up there in recent years, Cafe O, Normal Road.
Nordic spot.
Whatever this means.
Yeah.
No,
I get it. Chef's Kiss.
Chef's Kiss. General Merchants would have been the hangout
It's
too.
my favourite now. I must say.
General.
5A is my favourite, which is like General Merchants, but it's Stranmillis.
Okay.
So it's called 5A, but it's owned by General Merchants.
It's owned by the GM.
Huh?
Owned by the General Merchant, is it?
Yeah, it is owned by the General Merchants, but I don't know why they call it something different. Someone told me the story one time.
It's probably, there's many reasons.
But I think the locals, I think it was always a coffee shop or always like a hangout, and the address is 5A. So I think people go, oh, you going to 5A? But it's just General Merchants,
Here, we're not going to name any names or say any places, but...
Oh, geez. We've named enough names. We've named nearly all over.
No, but have you ever had a bad cup?
Oh, loads. What are you talking about?
Back
loads?
In the Rona days, them horse and carts.
Oh, goodness. No.
Do you know what I mean? But it is, coffee making is a skill. It is an art, and that's why there is barista training. And do you know what? Maybe someday I'll add it to the CV.
I have a feeling I'll do it, Just because...
But you would have it in you.
Well, I don't know. Well, whenever Park let me do that, I was like, Jesus, it's hard. But it's like anything. It's like you have to train to do it. No one just rocks up and...
No.
Even the timing of the coffee and all, and
temperature.
I take wild interest there. Whenever they got a new machine at Nature and Co, I was like, Park was telling me about the time it takes to extract and the perfect weight, and when a lot of coffee shops won't weigh it out or anything, whereas Nature and Co do. But that's when you get a bad cup.
Shout out to Richie Donnelly.
Well, shout out to Richie Donnelly. Hopefully he'll be on the podcast very soon as well. But
definitely get him on.
We want to try and do it in Nature and Co, you see.
Right.
So we're just trying to sort that. But we'll get there.
But no, as I say, it's class. No, the thing I love about coffee, there's connection with coffee, right?
Yeah.
Or even coffee shops.
You're speaking my language.
Even if you're not a coffee drinker, here we'll go for a coffee. I say to my friends and say, I don't drink coffee, and well, I'll buy you a mineral water.
Aye, that's not what it's about.
It's not about the coffee.
No.
I will drink the coffee.
Have a tea, have a hot chocolate, whatever.
And do you know what? I used to drink coffee maybe 2 or 3, 4 a day, but now I kind of just aim it for 1 or 2. And that's my sweet spot, you know. Because
do you drink it after? Would you have a cut-off time?
Well, not really. It's just a morning thing for me. I would never think of reaching for it in the afternoon. I like an iced latte.
Do you?
All year long.
You're like my sister. She's the same. It could be -1 and she's like iced lattes. I couldn't do it.
My sister ordered iced Americano. Milk,
summertime, I'm all for the iced. But nah, I like a hot coffee. Even if it's roasting outside, which in Northern Ireland, 3 days a year, I would always go for a hot coffee, always. But so, I'm releasing a coffee guide. I don't know if you knew this, but all the best coffee shops in Northern Ireland. I might have mentioned it to you the last time we were chatting. So guys, if you want it, morningcoffeewithtim.com. If it's available, you'll be able to get it. If it's not, you'll go on a list to get early access. It's not out yet. I don't know when it's going to be out.
That's okay.
But essentially, it's like a little hobby side project because I go to loads of coffee shops. It's reviewing them. It's chatting about the vibe, the coffee, can you do work there? Can you not do work there? Is it small? Is it big? Is the community good?
Have you ever been to the Moon and back and done it more?
I have been told about this.
Yep.
The shout outs are getting ridiculous. But Emma that works in Nature & Co, she's from Donegal, and I said to her, I've never been to Donegal in my life, which is bad.
Well,
I feel like I need to go.
Well, it is a great spot. Like, it's the Beverly Hills of Dungannon.
Is that what you call it?
Well, I do.
Never been to Beverly Hills either. The Beverly Hills of Dungannon. Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. And is it good?
Oh, aye. But even the feed.
To the Moon and back makes me want to go. Like.
Well, it is, and it's lovely, and I know Alana very well. Like, I'm trying to name drop
No,
her.
I know.
But Alana, you know, it's an ode to her grandparents.
Right.
They always said, I love you to the moon and back, her granny, so it's so personal.
Oh, that
so
is
it's
nice.
lovely. And then beside the Moon and back, there's a lovely vintage store owned by her sister, Erin Rose, and it's called Elfin Row, another ode to their grandparents. So it's so homely. It's such a vibe. Donatmore's hotspot.
I'll have to check it out. It's not on the guide, but maybe if I get there before. I know.
Well,
I've been a bit ignorant on the guide because I've went Belfast, obviously. So there's a Belfast section. There's a Tyrone section, my hometown, my home place, and then there's a North Coast section because I spent a lot of time there as a kid, caravan up there. And then there's a best of the rest. So I've just ignored Armagh, Antrim. Well, Antrim's North Coast Antrim, I guess. So yeah, I probably need to venture a little bit more and discover some.
Get to the Moon and back before you do that.
To the Moon and back. I like that. Even just saying, "Are you going to the Moon and back?" I like that.
I love you to the Moon and back. Like.
So where's your?
Someone saying that to you?
I know. Well, we'll get into that with your little books and everything, and I'm sure there's probably a quote like that in there. But before we go off the coffee, favorite coffee shop you've ever been to? Now, I only want you picking one. I know it's tough.
Like that's like I'm not a parent, but that's asking like what's your favourite child?
Maybe pick somewhere in Australia so no one can get annoyed.
That gaff in St Kilda.
That was
I don't
probably
even know
one.
the name, but that was my.
You remember
favourite.
that?
That is my most standout moment of me being like.
And that was Melbourne.
That's like magic beans. What am I drinking here in St Kilda, Melbourne?
Yeah.
I couldn't choose a favourite coffee shop at home here because I have multiple. Yeah, but my favourite coffee is flat white.
Yeah, okay.
Flat
That's
white
your order?
For the win.
Flat white oat milk or normal milk?
Well, you see, this is it. Sometimes I'm feeling bougie and I'll be like, a wee bit of oat milk there, but 9 times
not a
out of 10
dietary
I forget.
thing, like?
No, it's not, but I do feel better when I maybe drink the oat milk. But here, is it just notions? Probably.
Sometimes I think, I don't have any dietary requirements or anything, but sometimes I think I probably do, but I just don't care enough at the time. I love the taste of the coffee so much, I'm not thinking about, is my tummy a wee bit iffy now? Yeah.
It's habitual, like it's what you're used to. Like, you know, I'm now like flat white is my order, like.
Yeah.
You know, or sometimes I'm like, oh, what do you want? Like I did that this morning for some reason.
Yeah.
Driving along, you're like, oh, what coffee do you want? I was
like,
what do you want?
What are you getting?
I was like, what does it matter what Tim's getting? Just ask what you want for that. But then that's the people pleaser in me. I'm working on it.
2024, the year of less people pleasing.
Yes, please.
Yes, facts. But do you remember your first flat white? Sorry, I'm so interested in coffee. I just love it. And also the fact that it was in Australia, the fact that I really want to go to Australia, so you can tell me all the best
flat
spots.
whites aren't a thing in Australia. Well, back in that
Oh, are they
day,
not?
No, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong.
They probably are now, because they weren't the
so.
thing here. I remember my first one, and I was with a load of cyclists.
Oh.
So I was working with a cycling team at a race called An Post Ras, which is like a race around all of Ireland, and it was a Tyrone team, but it was Oma Wheelers, but it was Tyrone, and I went out for them with coffee. Or cyclists love their coffee, love their coffee. It's like fuel for them. And Gary Donaldson, one of the boys, went, "Oh, I'm getting a flat white in Cafe Nero in Oma," and I was like, I'd always seen it in the menu, but I'd never ventured into coffee, so that was my first flat white, and since then. My life's been changed.
My first flat white was definitely in the kitchen, Noma.
Was it?
And like, I just loved it. There were lovely wee cups and their lovely art, and it was the perfect size. Love it. I want one. Well, I have one. Like maybe I'll take 2 today.
You may. I'm going to take 2.
I'm going into Oma after this.
So am I.
Yeah.
I'm going to Nature & Co.
I had to do some admin.
Oh, are you? Oh,
yeah,
geez, having
like
a full
this.
day together. Love it.
Oh, class.
Great stuff. What a privilege. We should have vlogged it.
We'll distract each other.
We should have. No, I'll sit in the far. I sit in the table facing the wall.
No, you sit.
I actually spend most of my time in chatting to the staff.
You sit behind the
the wee reception.
The ice cream place.
Yeah, ice cream's gone now.
ice cream's gone, but you sit in that corner and people think that you're like the
I
receptionist.
know. People come up to me and go, what's at this place? And I'm like, I do know, and I'll tell you, but I don't work. Well, I do work here a little bit, but they're taking that away.
Yeah.
They're putting like pallet chairs.
Amazing.
I know, but I'm losing my way.
I know, but
maybe
it's not all about you. You know, sometimes.
Wow.
You know.
Sometimes you just need humbled like that.
Yeah.
You're so right. Okay, let's bring it back. I love that coffee chat. 1989, all explained. Everyone's been shouted out that I've ever met. So let's bring it back. Annette, young Annette, growing up. What? Talk to me. School life, like when did you? Because we obviously want to get into your business ventures and stuff and all these things. Yeah. The fact you were a teacher, don't think I ever knew that. I obviously go back through people's like. So obviously I met you pretty recently. I knew all of your stuff, the whole Little Penny Thoughts brand and whatnot. Had seen it. You see everything.
So what colour comes to mind when you see Little Penny Thoughts?
Lilac, purple. You know, that's all I think of.
It's just a purple explosion in your face.
This is
and
something
we're like
I wanted.
Parma violets.
Yeah, but it's a nice colour, like, and I feel like I knew you as Little Penny Thoughts before I knew you as Annette, which is probably what a lot of people know, because it's like I hear a lot of people going. If you're ever out and about in Oma, I have heard this before, and people are like, "Oh, that's Little Penny Thoughts." I'm like,
LOL.
She has a name.
Yeah.
But that's weird because that shows that your brand is kind of like.
But I put the donkey before the cart. Do you know what that means?
Talk to me.
I like instead of it being a brand. First, it was kind of me.
You, okay. It's an extension of you then.
But I don't want it to. I'm trying to not separate it. I'm trying to reclaim my identity a wee bit because I don't really mind. I used to mind when people called me Little Penny Thoughts on a night out because then I would get paranoid for some reason. Maybe I wasn't proud of it at that stage. I wasn't ready to lose just because I'm always just known as Annette.
Yeah.
But I lost a lot of my identity to that, and because I wasn't necessarily confident in what I was doing and what I was about.
Yeah.
I was kind of winging it at the start. I was feeling a wee bit.
It was highlighting
it was strange. It was a strange sensation, people calling me Penny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's Penny.
I know, yeah.
Little Penny Thoughts came from my sister's purse, a penny for your thoughts.
Yes.
And then Little Penny Thoughts was kind of derived from that.
Yes.
But I've never claimed to be Penny. But, you know,
yeah.
Which is fine. But it's actually really interesting. But I did go through like a identity crisis there maybe 2-3 years ago when people's perception of me was like Little Penny Thoughts, this positive person. But I just knew me as Annette because I'm still very unhinged.
Yeah.
Loving the crack.
Yeah.
Has her ups, has her downs. But I feel now I'm more my authentic self online more than ever. So it's never that I was playing a role ever, but I used to hide behind the brand. Yeah. More so than just being like, this is me. And yes, the brand is the brand. Yeah. But I own the brand, but I'm not the brand.
I get that, but then it's like, I feel like a lot of good brands start from, it's an extension of you. Like, and for you to put the love in to make it a success, it has to be an extension of you.
For example, because people have social media tags now, right? It's so natural to identify that person with their tag. For example, my friend Caroline, a County Down Under. She's known as a County Down Under. I'm like, that's Caroline. Or even there, yesterday, I randomly met Kevin Penrose. Yes. And I was like, the Wild Irish Wanderer. And I was like, his name's Kevin. Yeah. But like, I know.
Has also been on the podcast.
What a legend.
Yeah, great guy.
So I do think it's the way of the world.
That's so true, yeah. It's just like tags. Everyone has tags.
So it's like a tag. And when I used to go to like blogger, influencer events way back in the day, bear in mind, I used to go to the opening of an envelope with him. Yes. Anything I was asked, I'd have been there.
Never heard that before.
In there like swimwear. Yeah. I'll go, I volunteer. But years ago, this is going back, like, I started this in 2015, maybe 2017, 18 era where I was event mad. Yeah. It used to be like, you weren't really asked your name. It's like, oh, what's your handle? And I used to be like, what's my handle? You know, and that actually irked me. Yeah. Because maybe back then I didn't feel that certain connections were authentic. Yeah. But was that perception? I don't know. Yeah. Now I'm very much Annette.
Your handle's still Little Penny Thoughts, right?
It's still Little Penny Thoughts because that's the brand.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the brand comes
yeah.
first before me putting Annette Kelly out there. I put Annette Kelly out there for sure, but I do it maybe through the medium of events, or if I go down the podcasting route, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But however, our brand, sorry, it's a family brand along with my sister and my brother's involved now. It's Little Penny Thoughts, and I've kind of been able to not
separate
the two a wee bit, so that.
But I think that's a challenge with personal businesses, especially in my line of work, coaching as well. Like, I got advice very early on to try and name, like, just have my handle on Instagram as like Tim Gallagher, because one thing, James Smith, who's a big PT, he has James Smith PT, and he says if he could have James Smith, he would just have James Smith, because people are buying into you. But I think coaching's a little bit different, because it is very much an extension of you, and yours is kind of like, it's personal to you, but it's also a business. You know, there most definitely is people buying the calendars that don't know who you are,
and you know,
which is great.
It's great, and you know what?
That's what you want, like.
I'm so friggin' grateful. Like, whether people call me, could be called worse than Penny. You know what I mean? And I have been called worse than Penny, let me tell you. But I honestly don't. I'm not as paranoid now. So it goes back to owning it. So at the start, I most certainly didn't own it. Little Penny Thoughts was born out of a very, very dark place in terms of my own mental health. It was from my bedroom, me struggling with my own shit going on, with like my mindset, and quotes were the medium that helped me. And I wanted to put them out there on a page.
Yeah.
At the start, it was like a positivity page. It's not a positivity page now. It's just a well-being page that people can go and get inspired, uplifted, encouraged, because maybe that's something that I was seeking at that stage of my life. But now it's become a lifestyle thing. Like, I share a lot of my life, not just the calendars and the diaries and the quotes, but I share like what helps me daily.
But that starts a lot. I feel like that's the start of a lot of meaningful and cool businesses. Is something that you would have appreciated what you're selling now, whenever you were maybe struggling in the bedroom. Like,
but you see, the thing
struggling in the bedroom, that sounds random.
When you're struggling in the bedroom,
in the kitchen, wherever, any room of the house.
You're struggling in the LOL. Yes. But do you know what? When you said the word business and selling stuff, that gives me the heebie-jeebies, because organically it started from a place of just wanting to help people, and it was only in 2018 that we actually became a limited company. So there was a lot of grey area in them 3 years. You know, not grey area, it was just finding our feet. We did lots of charity initiatives with the Michaela Foundation. I was also starting to do my talking, and branching away from teaching a wee bit and doing personal development work. And then now I can look back in hindsight and think that everything was as it's meant to be, but the vision was never to sell. The vision was never to build a company or to build a brand. It was literally just an online platform to help people. And now, to this day, that's the core ethos and the core like reason why. But now it's my livelihood. And my family's livelihood as well, with my sister and my brother. And it's something that I'm incredibly proud of. Even though at times I can become complacent when I'm a wee bit stressed or whatever, or think, when you want to run away from it. But anything with responsibility you can run from, and when the stress hits, that's when you think,
bury your head in the sand.
But it is worth it. And what's worth it with me, with our products, is that people get good from them on a daily basis, whether it's from the quote calendars or diaries, or journals, and the feedback we get from all over the world every week. That's what spurs you on to keep creating, to keep going, and also to believe in your brand, to believe in what you're about. And this was never, ever, and never will be about money. It'll always be about impact. And the day and hour it becomes something different is the day and hour that Little Penny Thoughts will...
pull the plug.
But I don't see that happening for a very long time, because I believe this year, and I'm saying this with a smile, and I'm cringing myself out a wee bit, but I believe this year we're just getting started.
Love that.
And
love that.
Because it's time for change. But it's time for leveling up in it. Believe in yourself a wee bit more, believe in your family a wee bit more, and believe what's possible here. Instead of maybe just hiding behind opportunities,
Yeah.
step in, lean in.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
That all comes from feedback that you've got, and think like, when you look back and you know, you're sitting in your room and you're figuring it out, struggling with mental health, and this thing comes about, and then you start the blog type website, or just just to help people.
It's just Facebook, like.
Yeah. Could you ever have imagined? Yeah, you're like Mark Zuckerberg, but you're doing it you're doing it in a different way.
Yeah, yeah.
Could you have ever imagined like where it would have got to? When was the moment that you kind of thought, and it was never about, as you said, it was never about, we need to monetize this. This needs to turn into a product. It was about, how can we get this to more people, and that naturally comes in calendars and blah blah blah.
How can we get this off the screen?
Yeah, into people's houses, or into
And that's why we created the flip calendar, so it wouldn't gather dust.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what was the question.
When was the moment that you kind of thought that it was something, or did you not even realize? Because a lot of the time it just happens, and then you look back and go, where did them 3 years go? There mightn't even have been a moment.
There was never a moment, because it was all just winging down.
Yeah, naturally just happening.
Winging it.
Yeah.
That's the God's honest truth.
Yeah.
And a big thing for me is remaining true to why I started. And like, so thankful to the likes of Orla there, my sister, that when I came up with this idea, she didn't like, what are you acting at? Wise up. Because, people can shoot your ideas and dreams down.
That very easily could have been. Because if your sister, or one of your family members, goes, nah.
No, and I was a teacher, and teaching's a public arena, and people say, you can't. I kind of put my head above the water there when I wasn't feeling very well in order to do so. Remember, I was going through a place of struggle, and I just want to reiterate, and it was just 2015 wasn't the last time I struggled with mental health. It was 2023.
Yeah.
So this is something that, it's not something that I live with, but it's something that anxiety can come back and bite you in the backside, and until I learn how to manage my people pleasing, my maybe pressure on myself or not being kind to myself, that's when maybe I will break through in terms of, really activating my well-being. And I'm very much on this journey of wellness too, and I never want to be seen as someone that has it sussed.
Has it figured out? No one ever has it figured out.
Trucker in this world has it sussed.
No, definitely
not one. No. Not even, no matter how successful you are, no matter how passionate you are, no matter how well put together you seem. When I get, even during my tough times last year, I was getting multiple messages from a lot of people saying that they're struggling at the minute, and I could write back and say, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm on the boat.
Yeah.
And because this is life, we're humans, and that's the danger of social media, perception, that you look and you think, Annette Kelly, what a life, she's sussed, and me is miserable as frig,
Yeah, yeah.
But I do not force it. You'll know when I'm not myself, if
toxic
I'm quiet
positivity
online.
is a big thing online too.
Folk McGee.
Yeah. I totally get it, and it's so. I think from the standpoint of putting out content, which we both do, and from the standpoint of consuming content, it's so easy to get caught in the trap of only putting highlights, because
caught
it is
in a trap. Go on.
Give us a rendition. Because it's so easy to get caught up in that and trying to people please again. It all kind of links into each other.
What I'm seeing at the minute is carbon copies.
Oh yeah.
And it absolutely.
Sean Casey gets a lot of them. Shout out Sean Casey. He's got.
No, he is. I'm telling you.
He's
you talk about authenticity.
I know. The man deserves everything.
I'm just going to say this about Sean Casey, right? And I would have messaged him about it. I just love his raw authenticity.
Yeah.
He was talking the other day, probably about bread or something, but he was just calling people
bread.
out, saying you effers, listen up.
Yeah.
The way he talks to his audience, but with such authenticity, his drollness is not, his droll,
he doesn't change.
Dry humour. And I just respect him so much because of his authenticity. And if he teaches you anything, is to be yourself.
Yeah.
But don't try to be like him.
Exactly. But then it's a testament of how good he is at what he does. The amount of people that copy him. Because see the videos I see, and they're literally, they could be word for word of Sean's. And it's something, I'm in Sean's groups. I'm in all, he'd be a good friend. And when you're seeing a lot of his content, this is another thing. I try and like audit who I'm seeing. I went through a massive unfollowing stage there because
I can't believe you unfollowed me.
No, I definitely didn't unfollow you.
Like you only just followed me there, and now you just got the chopper out.
I know, but because if you're following loads of coaches, especially, it's so easy to kind of because everyone's doing the same thing. You have to kind of put your own spin in it, and that's what social media is all about.
Another authentic creator is Keeling.
Conway, let's hear the episode before you, or 2 episodes ago. I know. I get all the best. I get the best people.
But you know what? But that's a testament to you. You know, your vibe attracts your tribe, and I
just pass them until they come on.
I really respect.
She's amazing.
People. She is, but such a hard worker. Like, you know, started off from scratch, built her audience, and built her community, and built. You know, okay, I love...
Another one that gets classed with their tag, Be a Better You. Like, sometimes you see it and then it's like... and her name's really hard to spell as well.
Yeah, Kelly.
So she's easier.
But you know what? Honestly, like, I have such respect for... There's so many creators that I just see being themselves, and that's the ones I'm drawn to. There's another wee girl, just going to give them all... I'm just going to say it all. Yeah. A TikToker she's from West Belfast is Annette Kelly.
Right, okay.
And she's very good at the day, like, doing...
Day in the life.
Yeah. But it's just, I feel as if she went on a cruise there, and I just felt I was on that cruise with her.
Yeah.
So clever and so fun, but also very authentic. And I think the word I'm trying to get across here is authentic. And if anyone wants to build a brand or wants to be a creator or whatever you want, you have the secret sauce within yourself just to be you. Like, that might sound cheesy as frig, but it's true. Yeah. Be yourself. Be the person your friends see. Yeah. Because that's what's going to make people maybe warm to you. I don't know.
No, but it naturally happens. I feel like whenever... And it is tough because at the start, when you're putting a camera or when you're videoing yourself, you naturally change because it's uncomfortable.
It is.
And when you look back, like I must have done maybe 180 podcasts, 190 podcasts between different podcasts. When I listen back to the first one, it's horrific. But you have to have that first one. You have to be bad to be good. That's why, and you have to just keep going. But I feel like people try and start to change, and then by the time they're on there, I've done this as well. By the time I'm on my like 50th video on Instagram, and I'm just putting out videos for the sake of putting them out, and you're like, that's not even me. Like that's not the person.
Can I be deadly honest here?
Absolutely.
Safe
space.
Talking to the camera. I know the camera's on me now, but I'm not.
There's 3 of them on you there. Yeah.
And all 3, right? Talking face on face till I set up camera. Like I can hold the phone and yarn about tear, banter, sea swims, blah blah blah. But you see, when it comes to like actually real chat and real hit home messages, I can't get the words out. I just melt because I'm like put myself under too much pressure. And that's when I just put the phone down and think that shit's not going anywhere. Because I don't believe that.
No.
You have to believe in your message.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? What is your message?
Yeah.
One of my big messages that I love to get out daily is like, just be more dead on to yourself.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Discuss.
Be more dead on. No, I totally agree.
So how can we be more dead on to ourselves? Hit me.
Well, firstly, you have...
Not physically.
Huh?
Not physically.
No, never. We're not
on camera.
We're not about violence. But it's so right. I think we're our own harshest critics. But I think that again comes from like societal pressure, and it's like trying to fit in and trying to be someone that but I feel like I've realised, I look back to when I was 21 or leaving uni, and I thought I had it all figured out. I was like, oh, I'm just going to be this person now for the rest of my life. I didn't have a clue what I was, who I was, what I stood for. Yeah. My self-awareness now is so much more, but at the same time, I'm still figuring things out. I'm figuring what, like, certain triggers that I have, certain things that I'm dealing with. Anxiety wasn't a thing that was even in my life until about 2 or 3 years ago. And then now you kind of feel like once you get anxious for the first time and you realize it's a real thing, then it's harder to get away from it. So you're kind of always kind of figuring it out. But if I had to look back and went 21, my life's a breeze. Like. But then but how, in terms of coming back to that, how do you be more dead on to yourself? I don't know. Spend less time comparing to other people, I think, is probably the biggest thing. Because what you said there about putting out content too, I definitely struggle with this, and I've chatted to Sean about this loads of times. In business and in life and in content creation, they talk about finding your niche or finding your people, which I think Keelan's done incredibly well. She talked about her gang, her tribe, and people just like her engagement rate is through the roof because people just buy into everything that she says. Same with Sean. It's not like someone that went on Love Island and then is trying to sell you like a car air freshener because they're trying to get a quick bit of money.
Where do you get these car air fresheners?
I know.
Sold.
I know, but it's, they come out and they have this audience, but they don't get the engagement, like, because people can see through it. Whereas these other people trying to build this authentic image, they're not trying. It's just happening because they're being themselves. My best videos are when I'm out for a run and I'm just slabbering thoughts because it's me. Because it has my natural humour. But see, whenever I, like what you said, when you sit down and I try and plan out a video and I write it all down, I watch it back and I'm like,
so scripted.
Who are you trying to be? Like?
Exactly.
David Goggins?
Maybe.
Well, no.
He's a legend.
He is a legend.
Honestly, like, to be more dead on to yourself is to show up as yourself. And,
what if you don't know who you really are yet, though?
Well, you see, this is it. Be gentle with yourself in the process of learning about yourself and
allow change and
allow growth. Like, at the end of the day, you're not going to be the same person. Like, I'm not the same person I was in my 20s. Thank flip. Because my level of awareness was not there. I had no idea who, what, why about me. But say in my 30s, and especially this year, 2023, that's called the year of actually waking the frig up.
Yeah.
Like, I woke up last year and it was like, I'm not going to use the awakening. No, I'm not going to use that word, but I woke up to maybe who I was, what I was, why.
Yeah.
And what, but that's messy. It's a messy middle. And it's not pleasant because when you actually want to change, when you want to grow, you have to face things you don't want to face. And I didn't like a lot of stuff that I faced last year.
Yeah.
But only through that is growth. If you learn lessons and if you apply the lessons.
Yeah.
This year's about applying. Last year was about learning. This year's about applying. I don't know what next year will be.
We'll see.
Not even next year, next month.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to apply these lessons, and there's so many lessons, like, honestly, and even like coming on this podcast here today, I used to would think, what am I going to talk about? But I was like, no, not show up as yourself and let the conversation flow.
Yeah.
Instead of putting this pressure on yourself that you need to be X, Y, and Z, how about just be?
Yeah.
We're human beings, right, Tim? Right? Well, that's what we're called, human beings.
Yeah, got you.
But are we?
Are we actually being?
No, we're doing. We're human doings. Just do.
Programmed,
do. You know what I mean? Go, go, go. But how about being? How can we be? Right? So this is how I'm being more down on myself. How can you be in that today?
Yeah.
Right? So that's going to look different in every single day, because some days, naturally you'll be yourself, but other days when you have that tightness in your chest, which I have at the minute for some reason.
Yeah.
Don't know why, but I have it because maybe it's Monday and we have a busy week ahead.
I don't normally do that to people, so apologies if it's caused by me.
No, it's not caused by you, but maybe because it's Monday morning and I'm maybe fast tracking myself to Friday. Whoa, not just be.
Yeah.
You're here now with Tim, you're chatting, you don't have to think about this afternoon or tomorrow or whatever. Just be. Now that takes time because
it's also very hard.
I'm more in the present.
Yeah.
I'm in 2026.
I know. I know.
That's the truth, and that's my nature. But
yeah.
if I could do anything for myself, is try to be more present, get off my phone more, like have more chats with people, good interesting convos, like.
Yeah.
But even with your loved ones.
Yeah.
Like even there,
Oh my days, that reminded me of something that I put on my story there recently about my granda.
What's his name?
George.
Granda.
I'm Timothy Robert George. 2 grandas.
Holy ghost.
I know.
How long? Timothy
Robert
George. He sounds as if you should be in, like, what do you call it?
Downton Abbey.
Hi.
I know. Very fancy names, but none of the Robert or George were. No.
Do you own an estate?
Jip or so, no. Definitely not.
Gallagher. No, Gallagher
ruins it.
Gallagher takes away.
But no, I was down with my granda. My granny's away at the minute, and I dropped him down a pizza. And
what's his toppings?
Chicken and bacon, standard. Nothing that can get stuck in his teeth or he can't chew.
Surely bacon is.
I know he likes it.
Like,
He deal with the consequences for the taste of bacon.
that's
Like,
alright.
but dropped it down to him anyway, and he was sitting there, and he was just with a dog beside him, just sitting with his wee glasses on while he keep me thing. Like. And we had a wee chat, and then he was beside the phone. And I was like, "What are you beside the phone?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm trying to ring." They would normally get visitors over if Granny was there at the weekend, but then he was scared that they weren't going to come because she wasn't there, and he goes, "Oh, it'd just be nice for someone to talk to." I near lost it. I near lost it because it actually was like, I know it seems like such a trivial thing, but it hit me like a ton of bricks because I was like, geez, because I want to travel, and you think about all these things, go to Australia, been in Bali, and I'm always thinking, huh?
You in Bali?
Enough. I don't know. I mentioned Bali so many times. Even my mates are like, we'll bring up Bali.
I'm going to go hopefully in March. That's the plan.
Oh, really? Jeez, I might go with you. But anyway, I talk about what I want to do, and then everything's about getting away from home. And I have the greatest family ever. Like, but everything's because I'm not thinking about that, but I'm thinking about what I want to do. And don't get me wrong, you have to think about yourself. But that little moment was like, he's not going to be here forever. Like, my grandparents aren't going to be here forever. And you kind of just have to go sit down and have a chat with him. That's probably longer than I chatted with him in a long time. And I was like, oh geez, it hit me. Like, I had to sit down. Like, I know it is, and you don't realize these things until, like, I would just so trivially just drop him off groceries, like, not even chat to him, just go in them. And I feel like then when he'd be a hard man, like a hardy man, Irish man, like growing up farming all his life, probably hasn't been in a shop in about 30 years. Like, Granny does everything. Wouldn't show much emotion. But then when he just kind of said, that's probably what made it hit me harder, because if he was an emotional granddad, I'd be used to it. I'd be huggy and all that. But he was just like, it'd be nice just to have someone to talk to. I was like, oh my days.
Straight to the jugular. Like.
It really did.
Do you know what? Like, he showed a wee bit of vulnerability there that you weren't used to seeing.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's when it kind of made you, right?
Oh, aye.
But last night I was with Granny, and she's 97, right? And
shout out Granny.
Like, she is, like, she's the... I have no words for that woman.
The goat.
Honestly, yep. Like, she's a direct line to the main man above. Like, she's got us all covered. But there's something about the peace and tranquility I feel in her company. When I try and visit as often as possible. Probably when I lived closer to home, I was there more often. And sometimes you feel guilty for not making that time because life gets busy. But you have to realise what are you getting busy about and what really matters.
Yeah.
And that's a focus for this year too, is visiting people that matter and spending time, quality time, phones away with people that matter. But being in Granny's company, the simplicity of the cup of tea, like the Royal Albert's out, like the real
Grannies and Granda's,
the bread and the real butter and the real jam is rocking, and it's just, I find such joy and simplicity, and I need to do it more. Not just for me, but for her too, but for everyone. You know what I mean? It's even for my own parents, because everyone is getting older, but not that we should guilt ourselves into we should be. Yeah. It's prioritising what matters, and that's when you look at your week there and you look at, say your work schedule, what are you doing for self-care, but also, you need a wee bit of downtime as well, which I would counter in for self-care. But then what about the people time, the people that you want to spend time with, prioritising them. Whether it's friends, family, loved ones, lonely. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think, you're never going to hit the balance all the time, but it's getting your intentions right. Yeah. And sometimes you need that wee reminder of your granda. I need that reminder for Granny or my parents, and it's how you feel being in certain people's company. And not everyone is blessed to have a loving relationship with their parents or grandparents. Exactly. So this isn't a one size fits all. Yeah. It's no matter. It's spending time with people that fill you up, that light you up, and rinse and repeat. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100%. And it's also like getting out of your own head and thinking about how much it means to them. I think that was a big thing for me, because I was like, I was like, oh, Granda, you know, he's grand, he's doing his own thing. But whenever he said it, I was like, oh, you're actively thinking that. Like, he would never say it.
Yeah.
But whenever he didn't slip up, but he just said it.
Yeah.
And he will not ever think that I would think anything more of what he just said. But whenever it was just something that kind of, I was like, oh my days. Everything kind of came back to me of being like, I'm just chasing all the time. And I think Christmas as well, being home at Christmas and stuff, and being around family and being around like all the little ones and blah blah blah, and you're just kind of sitting, and then I'm always thinking, right, what's next? Australia, where am I going?
Yeah.
Business,
do you
what can I do?
nieces or nephews?
No,
wee cousins.
No, but loads of wee cousins, and also my mum's a childminder. So I have a lot of kids that aren't like, because if you looked at my Instagram, there's kids on my Instagram all the time, and you would think that I have, people probably think I, you know, have loads of little nieces and nephews. They're all just little kids that my mum has kept from, like my best friend, childhood mate, he was mum's first ever child that she looked after.
Class.
And we grew
like
up together.
Brother.
He was like, he was like 2 years, exactly. He was like 2 years younger. So he is like a brother. He's not like, he's not really a friend, he's a brother. But then now,
what's his name?
Colin.
Shout out.
Shout out Colin. He probably will listen to it.
Look in the camera dead nice. Shout out.
If I tell him that he's meant to, he listen. But no, just there's always little ones about. There is something about being around like little kids that is also an amazing.
So I have nieces and nephews. I have 6, and they don't feature much on Instagram because it's just a part of, I keep them private, you know.
Oh, I probably show them too much.
Do you know what? Like, they light up my life, like, because of the pure crack, banter, innocence, and, you know, when I'm around them, I become, like, childlike.
Yeah.
Annette.
Oh, yeah. Your inner child fully comes out. Absolutely. I think I am still a child.
But we are.
Yeah.
Like, we are, look, we're not, but our inner child, like, Tim's still in there, Annette's still in there. And, you know, if you go into the whole personal development realm, which I know you're massively involved with and interested in, we talk about healing our inner child, you know.
Sinead Haggerty, shout out. That's what that reminds me of. Sinead mentioned that a lot.
Yeah, and that's so true because, like, you know, I'm very blessed that I have a very happy and healthy and loving upbringing. Once again, when you become older, you realise that's not the case for everyone. But I still have to go back and treat wee Annette with kindness, especially when I'm hateful to myself in the mirror about my body or my skin or even how I talk and things like that. I just know that 9-year-old Annette wouldn't look at Annette that way.
Yeah.
So if 9-year-old Annette looks at herself with a wee bit of, you know, care and compassion, and surely Annette in her 30s can as well, because I have young nieces and I want to be a good role model for them about body confidence and about, you know, like I find it hard. Like I can't say love yourself because I'm on that journey, but liking yourself and being kind to yourself.
Yeah.
But hopefully one day, like, I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why I find it so hard to say about loving yourself. I think it comes from, maybe it's ingrained in us in society that
where do, like, if you were to think about it, where do you
think you're class, you know?
No, but
it's not about that. It's about loving yourself for who you are, because, you know,
because it is a negative. Like, people would see it as a negative if someone goes, oh, he loves himself.
I know, but
I've heard that insult before, and it's like,
I think it comes from deriving from walking down Holy Communion.
I remember that. I never done Holy Communion.
Like,
no, but it is.
Your blade, she thinks just class. You know,
it is true, though. It's funny that we're both drinking water at the same time as well. But
Sancha.
Cheers. But I do think it's seen as a. I'm going to set that down now because I'm just holding it and it's just open for no reason.
Oh.
It is a weird one. It is a weird one that if you kind of like yourself and then if you're showing that and you're being your true self, a lot of people will start to not like that.
Because it will confuse that for cockiness. She thinks she's deadly or he thinks deadly, and like, you know, like I love this saying. People say, "Oh, if she's chocolate, she'd eat herself."
Nice.
Never hear that?
I haven't.
If she's chocolate, she'd eat herself. I'm like, right? I know you're slagging her, but what does that mean? I'm very, very uncomfortable with people running down other people, especially when it comes to confidence.
You can't be comfortable.
You literally don't know what that person's going through.
You can't be comfortable in this country then, surely.
We know.
This country's horrific. For
I know, and you see, the thing is,
that's not I love this country, don't get me wrong, and I'm very proud to be from here. But one thing we are awful at is comparison you want people to do okay, but just not better than you. Like everyone wants to be. Everyone's on a pedestal. Everyone's like, oh, did you see her doing that? Did you see him doing that?
Like, I know I've been talked about, right?
Oh, aye.
Because it's got back to me. And it's so fucking hurtful.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't
Yeah.
explain how much it hurts. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
I never curse, but I literally am so passionate about this because when you hear something back that maybe is not necessarily true or perception and it's fed back to you and it's like, oh dear, like people think this and people think that. And you know what? I've said this in every podcast I've been on, and I really do believe this is what other people think of you is none of your business.
Yeah.
And like the only people's opinions that matter to me is my trusted friends and family. And because they're the people that I want to make proud. And my opinion of myself is important. What I think about myself is most important.
Of course.
Because if I have a low opinion of myself, that's going to come out in all sorts of ugly ways. But if I have a good, solid, kind, compassionate opinion of myself, then I'm going to be a more kind, compassionate person. But, you know, we can, and I used to be, like back in the day, all I wanted to be was popular. All I wanted to be was liked and people please. And I still have massive, you know, habits that can seep in. But now I'm not too worried if Jacinta or Jemima from wherever says Annette Kelly's this, that, or the other, because do they know me? No.
Yeah.
I'd barely know me. I'm getting to know me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. No, I do know me, but it's just not placing the opinions of others, people so high up on the agenda, because you know, whether you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, and it doesn't matter if you're doing well-being talks and being authentic or whether you're not doing that.
Yeah.
You could be doing other things that are a wee bit more risky. You're still going to be maybe spoken about.
Yeah.
And whether you have a platform or not, it's not even about a platform. It's just as humans, you know. And I would often hear, you know, people saying, "Oh, did you see this or did you see that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, brilliant," or whatever. And if someone's coming to me saying this, I'm like, "What are you saying about me?"
Yeah.
You know, do you ever find that?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just we're getting into it, and it's not being negative. It's an awareness thing. Because see, in my 20s, I'd be like, "Hey, no, did you see? Did you see?
100%.
OMG!"
Yeah.
And like, would you be at it? You know, that would have been a previous.
But that's
version
societal.
of me.
Yeah, that's societal too, and it's the way
know?
it's built into this country. See, like gossiping, and I look at like older generations and stuff too, like on the phone chatting about everyone knows everyone's business, and I think that and I don't think they do it in a hurtful way. I think it's just the way they've been brought up, and I think it's now heightened by us having social media. We have access to what everyone's doing, and you know what she's at, what he's at.
I'll never forget the time that I bought my first home. Well, my only home. My first years were multiple.
64 later.
Right.
Like a property developer. I remember the first.
I remember the first time. It was literally 2 years ago. Right?
Yeah.
But I was so afraid of... I shared a wee bit online about it. But I was so afraid of what people would say.
I know.
What?
I know.
Now, if I was to do it again, I'd be like, here, if I can do it, you can do it. I don't want to, like...
But even people would take that the wrong way.
Well, yes, that's true, but I was so, like, afraid of, like, perception, and then even just there, you know, maybe a few comments, "Oh, you're doing well for yourself," or, you know, I'm sure, like, and one comment that kind of floored me a wee bit was all like, "I'm sure you didn't expect that would be, you know, you doing it alone. You know, I'm sure you would like, you know," and I was like, you know, keep taking there before, like, you know, it would be with your husband or, you know, your first, you know, I was all like,
how do people say that?
And I was just like, and then I was all like, just, what? And then you're just like, it's even there, like, and I'll go back till 4 years ago when I was trying to get a mortgage. Yeah. And there's a mortgage advisor, and I'll never ever forget it. He looked at my books and he says, "You may wait on the husband." And I says, "Sorry, what?" And he said, "Oh, you may wait on the man." And I went, I thought I needed, like, my ears cleaned out. Is he saying I have to wait on a man so I can afford
this, like,
a home?
And
I was just like, you know, and I thought it'd be smart. Like, obviously, I'm into men. It doesn't matter what I'm into. But I was like, oh, well, you know, I'm into women. just bantering with him,
Yeah.
And I like nearly spat out his tea, and I just left. And that it didn't spur me on or anything, but I just
You haven't seen that man since?
no, I didn't. But it was such a dinosaur throwaway comment, like old school, that no, a woman couldn't do it by herself.
Yeah.
And not that I'm all independent woman, whatever, but anyone can do anything within reason if they put their mind to it and if they work hard enough.
Yeah.
I have a big work ethic. I put measures in place. I went to an amazing mortgage advisor then. Shout out to Mac Mortgages in Gannon. He looked at my book, says you're nowhere near book ready.
Yeah.
But here's how you get book ready so that you will be granted a mortgage.
Yeah.
And Hugh, what a legend. Honestly, he took me from A to B to C to D.
Yeah.
And it was a process. But people online don't see that process.
No.
They see, or even one comment was, her daddy must have got it for, but whatever.
I know.
Whatever. And what if he did?
I know.
He didn't, though.
You'd be thankful to get it. I would like cheers.
He didn't, though. But, like, what I'm saying is...
But you won't be everyone's cup of tea. No matter what you put out, like a cup of
it.
coffee, sorry.
And it's not about materialistic stuff. I'm just saying when certain things happen in your life and then there's judgment. But you have to let judgment go because a lot of it's perception of the judgment.
Yeah.
Is it really judgment, or are you just taking it too personal?
Are you insecure about your own life?
Whoa.
Talk to me.
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
It's projecting insecurities. It's whenever I catch myself, because I'm always like, a big thing that I believe in is give without expectation. Christmas was a big like time for it. Sorry, all right? What happened? What happened?
Christmas is a big time for it.
Giving without expectation?
Yes.
Right, let me drink. No. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Well, you don't. I don't think you do, because I was about to get all serious.
Go ahead.
What did I say?
So,
give without expectation.
Yeah.
Christmas was a big time for it.
Yeah.
Well, do you think I got no presents?
Go ahead.
Right, no, but this is what I mean. Like, I think a lot of people give things, and then they think, what am I getting back? Yes. Without thinking about the giving.
Yes, like it's like transactions.
Yes, yeah.
No, it's not always about give and take. Sometimes you just give. It's so true. I don't even know why I find that so funny. I don't know, but it's like give with your pure intentions and not about what you're getting back.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how I operate. Like that is exactly how I operate, and I love helping people out, and people are well good help me out. And I think like I'm a big believer of paying it forward.
Yeah.
If you do an element of good, it's going to come back to you in some shape or form. Not always. Like, you will get screwed over.
Yeah.
And the thing is, by being screwed over, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah.
So if you get tricked by someone or deceived or been taken advantage of, try and forgive yourself for that, because you only know what you know.
Yeah.
But if you keep coming back to the same circumstances and falling into the same patterns, then you have to look at your awareness and how you can wise up.
But then this is another thing, like this is why I brought up Christmas. Like, how many times do you hear people going, like secrets, like say for example, you're given a present, she spent £50 on you. I have to spend £50 on her, like blah blah blah, and it's all just becomes like, what's the point of prayer? What's the point then? Like, why are you not just giving something? Like, if you're buying flowers for someone, and then they think, why'd you do that? Or they have to get you something back. Or if I bought a present for him last year, I have to buy a present this year. No, just give without thinking about the other end. But then people are always, and I think that comes from like, I don't know, but it's something that sticks in my mind so much, because I think it's like, it's one of the big problems is that not enough people just give for the sake of giving. And then whenever you do give, you naturally kind of think, what am I going to get back? Or what's blah 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 blah, or they owe me one. They don't owe you anything. No. If you're giving for the right reasons. But then I don't know. I do totally.
It's a
weird one, like.
I do totally get where you're coming from. But just I suppose it's it's how you perceive. It's all about perception. I know I've said that
know.
so many times,
I
but
know.
it's how you look at things.
Yeah. But it is, and what I said to you before about not being everyone's cup of tea, I think that's...
Some people don't even like tea. Like,
I know.
shocking stuff.
I know. I don't know how, but it is a weird one, because I find whenever people are putting content out, or whenever they're being themselves, you'll get more people chatting about them, being like, oh, he's too much, they're too much. That's just...
sure. I would, some feedback I would get, was about my voice. Great on people, or like, maybe think I'm too happy chappy sometimes, or whatever. Like, I can only be me. I can't cater for everyone else's needs. I just have to be true to myself and accept that, what you said, you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And another favourite quote of mine, I love an old quote, is that you could be the juiciest peach in the world. Yeah. But not everyone likes peaches.
Yeah, facts. I love peaches, like.
Me too. You know what I mean?
I know.
I'm a big fan of peaches. Peaches are class. But maybe some people are allergic. And maybe some people are allergic to me. Some people are allergic to you, which I find very hard to believe. However, I have to...
there's definitely people allergic to me. Bad rashes and stuff, like. It's a disaster.
I know. But you know what? At the end of the day, do you gel with everyone? Do you vibe with everyone?
No, definitely
Absolutely not.
But then that's the point. Like, if everyone was the same, life would be boring.
However, let's not go out of our way to be nasty to each other.
Yes. Well, you don't have to be nasty to someone that isn't your cup of tea.
Aye, or nasty
the
about
unfollow button exists for a reason.
And the mute.
And the mute.
But more of a
I only discovered the mute recently.
More of a fan of the mute. If I unfollow you, it's for a reason. But and I unfollow very few.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not... But I'll mute plenty, because I'm sure I'm muted.
I didn't discover the mute.
Like, mute's great, because sometimes it's not about what the person's putting out. Maybe you're triggered by it.
Have you ever discovered you've been blocked?
Right.
I don't know. Now, I went through, in terms of coaching and stuff, and having business mentors and stuff, it's a lot about finding your feet on Instagram and getting your word out there. And it's tough to be seen in a world full of everyone on Instagram's an online coach these days, seemingly. But and you go through phases of sending messages and checking in on people and doing this and doing that. And I'm sure someone maybe just didn't want to get fitness messages, or didn't. Some people, see, when you ask someone how they are on Instagram, their back's up straight away. They're like, what do you want to know? I sometimes get, I have a girl or have a boyfriend. I get that a few times. Like, if I'm reaching out to someone being like, oh, hey, like, just checking in, how's the new year, fitness goals going, blah, blah, blah. They'll just be like, oh, I have a boyfriend, sorry. I'm like, okay, weird.
All right. Well, do you know what? Like, is it because maybe the platform you're using? So if it was an email, would it be more appropriate to talk to clients by email?
If I was emailing someone, goodness.
But it is, maybe her boyfriend could have been beside her.
But it's also how they use it. It's also, I have to respect how they use social media. This is one thing that kind of got me over this. This was years ago. But like, I use social media all the time. Like, I'm on it regularly. I'm in my messages a lot. I get a lot of messages. This girl maybe doesn't get any messages. Maybe she texts her friends, and then Instagram is just a place for her to put her photos every now and again. Maybe she doesn't even put photos. She's getting a message from a random guy that she's never met. I get it. So once I took my ego away, everything out of it, I was like, okay, put my feet in her shoes.
Like,
it made sense.
Slipping into the DMs can be risky enough. Your intention was pure. Yeah. But then maybe her perception of it was like, oh, exactly. He just wants to kirk me, like. Yeah. You know.
Which I didn't. But, you know.
Wee bit?
Nah, not one bit. Even... I don't even remember who it was. But then the block thing, I discovered I was blocked there by someone, no, not mentioning names, I'm over it. Someone I barely even knew. You wouldn't know them. But I only discovered it because they were tagged in someone's story. And then I was like, oh, I haven't seen what she's up there, something, blah, blah, blah. And I clicked on it, and then no profile. I was like, oh, I'm blocked. I was like, oh.
No, and it does make your heart sink a wee bit.
Do you ever think how many people you're blocked by?
Now I'm gonna. Now that's my Roman Empire.
I guarantee we're all blocked by.
Okay,
a few.
I can imagine, like, because
I am a slobber. Like, I wouldn't want to listen to me all the time.
Hold on a second, right? I'm just gonna.
A good positive.
I'm gonna put my person development. No, I'm not a therapist. Person development coach hat on.
Mm-hmm.
And you said there, right? If I was coaching you, and you said I am a slobber, I just want you to hear that.
I know, but that's a positive thing for me, like
being a slobber.
No, but that's me. That's me being self-aware enough to know that I chat a lot. I'm not seeing that as a negative.
Yeah,
but I would say slobber just as like,
I think slobber is
like a negative thing.
Called me a slobber, I'd be like, oh my god. But if someone said you're chatty,
I
could accept that more.
Well, if someone else called me a slobber, I'd be like, relax.
So you can call yourself a slobber. Yeah,
but I know I'm meaning slobber in the sense of, up by a 64 podcast.
Okay,
he just liked to sound of his own voice.
So you're a self-proclaimed slobber.
Yeah.
That's different from someone else calling you.
Yeah, 100%.
I hear 100%.
You. So don't worry, I'm all good.
That's good.
But I appreciate you checking in on me.
No bother, mate.
I do. Right, let's bring it back.
Bringing it back.
Having a great chat. I know we went straight into little penny thoughts and we skipped about 10 years of your life.
Okay.
But you mentioned that you teaching and traveling.
Yeah.
I want to dive a little bit more into that because I didn't even know you were a teacher. I feel like I didn't know this. Because I went on the Little Penny Thoughts website. I went on to your Instagram. I scrolled back. Probably didn't scroll back enough.
Didn't scroll back
But so when you were at school, did you want to be a teacher? Was that like a natural progression?
School, I wanted to be. What did I want to be in school?
Shopkeeper. I wanted to be a shopkeeper.
Baker
baker.
But it was in the bakery, and P1 role play would have been shout to Miss McCann.
You'd have been the baker.
Yeah, it would have been the baker. Loved like the buns and bacon buns and stuff. That hasn't.
Wouldn't even have been real buns.
No, they were just the fake plastic buns with cherry on top. But they were my buns.
Yeah.
And I was the baker.
Uh-huh.
So I wanted to be the baker, and then I wanted to be a shopkeeper. And then it got to the stage where I actually did think of what I want to be. And a lot of it stemmed from caring for people, believe it or not. So my mum was a nurse. Sister was a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I want to be a nurse. So I wanted to be a nurse, but then I have like a fear of needles and blood. So that wasn't going to work. So then I thought, what else is kind of caring? So looking after children, and I thought teaching. But I was also heavily involved with drama, so I wanted to do a bit of acting. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't willing to totally pursue a career in acting, but I was willing to do it amateur, plays here and there, loving our thread of the board, I was in different plays. But then I was 6th year at the Dean, Carrickmore, and we were filling out UCAS forms at that time. Was UCAS forms in your day?
Yeah.
So it was like between nursing and teaching. But I knew that I wasn't going to pursue nursing because of said phobia, which I still have, needles and blood. Anyway, moving on. Then teaching came up, and the ranch, St Mary's, but it was hard to get into St Mary's, so
that's the teaching in Belfast.
Yes, St Mary's, and lo and behold, got my 2 A's and a B in my A levels, and got accepted into primary school teaching English. A in English, and was in St Mary's for 4 years. Rolled about the Holy Lands for 4 years. Had the absolute time of my life in college, simply for the reason being there was 0 frigs given. I just know how people talk about eras.
Yeah.
I was literally in my 0 frig era. Now, that rhymes, 0 frig era, but I'm 0 frig era. Yeah, right? So I would have looking back now, I was absolutely heedless on no self-awareness.
Yeah.
Just was so
day by day.
But partying, I loved to party, healthily partying like everyone else. Didn't engage in anything dangerous, and it's just so fun, and I loved it because of my carefreeness. Because partying came first, studying came second. I loved my teaching placements though in schools. You got a break from the Holy Lands, then you got to go back, and it was like class. Loved throughout them years travelling. I would have went to Africa with friends of Africa. I would have went to America with my friends.
Yeah.
Throughout them summers. And then when it hit when everyone was graduating, I was just praying for a 2-1, got my 2-1. And I remember the day that everyone was waiting for their classification, I was in Star Travel with my friend, been like, right, where's the next adventure?
Star Travel?
Star Travel.
I remember that. Yeah. The STA, little blue logo.
In Botanic.
Yeah.
And I was like, big bird, let's go on it. Let's go to Oz. So graduated in July and went to Australia that November. But at that time, I remember like some friends were talking about getting permanent jobs and getting their foot in the door in schools, and I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Big bird, I'm on it. I want to like a not a not a continuation of the party, but a continuation of adventure. You know,
Yeah.
bear in mind, really carefree at this stage. Like
Yeah.
I think back now, I didn't even think about going to Australia at 21. It just happened.
Yeah.
Whereas now I would have to plan
Aye.
months and years in advance to
Yeah.
make the move, you know. But it's an age and stage thing. I went there for a year and came back. I did my outback and traveling experience of the East Coast and my regional work and stuff, but only stayed a year and travelled Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, and then did my regional north of Perth, and then did the East Coast and came home with the intention of going back out. But lost my confidence then when I came home to travel solo again, and thought, now it was coming into my mid-20s, it's time to get my shit together here and settle down, get a job, maybe find a man, get a cure, blah, 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 all the stuff that I thought I needed in my mid-20s. Like, I actually thought in my mid-20s I needed to have my life together. The minute and hour that I thought I had to have my life together was the minute and hour my life fell apart, because that's when I stopped having fun.
Yeah.
I stopped having fun, but started taking life and myself so seriously. And that's when I developed a very, very unhealthy opinion of myself.
Yeah.
And like the party was over, I should be sensible now, I should have this, should have that, should have a permanent job. And I chat to so many people in their 20s now, and it's like, it just reminds me so much of me thinking that I should be more accomplished. And I'm like, no, use your 20s as learning about yourself, figuring it out, and not being so hard on yourself. And that's easier said than done. But if I could go back and tell 25-year-old Annette anything, it's like, Annette, just please be gentle with yourself, be more kind to yourself, and you'll always figure it out.
Yeah.
But if I wasn't brought to my knees in my mid-20s, then I wouldn't be in the position I am here today. I wouldn't have done the work. I wouldn't have been forced to do the work. The likes of cognitive behaviour therapy and, really doing the inner work so that I could actually get to know Annette, and do I know Annette at the minute? And I'm getting to know her, but I have a pretty good idea of who she is, what she's about now. In my 20s, not a clue. I'm still no further forward in many ways of the things that I wanted in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
But I'm further forward in other ways. And life isn't like how you sometimes plan for it. Life is what you make of it, what is your reality, rather than wanting this
script
fairy tale that, like, does it exist? I don't know.
I know, and it's like it's constantly changing. Like, chapters are opening and closing all the time, and you it's one might close quicker than you think it should or want it to, but then if that didn't close, then you wouldn't have the next one, which is like,
absolutely,
it's like a beautiful thing. I don't know, it's a weird one. I always talk about the butterfly effect a lot, talked about it a lot on this podcast, but it's just so mad to think that if you hadn't went to Australia, if you hadn't done this, if your sister hadn't supported you with where would you be?
And just even there, like last year was such a learning curve in so many ways, and maybe our relationship ended and someone said to me, well, and at least you have your career, and I was so offended. I was like, my career isn't my world. Meeting someone wouldn't be my world either, but it would be class as well. But I don't dwell on it.
Yeah.
I don't dwell, and even though society can settle pressures, we talked at the start, can maybe pressurize you into maybe at this age you should be married and have children, etc. That's not my script.
Yeah.
I just, if it's in terms of relationships, you want to meet someone that's your person.
Yeah.
That you're happy with, and if marriage and children comes in class, but let's just strip it back till just organic, good connections, I know,
but and also, like, I feel like people sometimes feel like they need to rush into meeting someone and finding someone, and then they put pressure on it, and then it ends up being like you end up with someone just for the sake of being with someone. And it's like my granny, shout out her again, but she my granny got a segment, Lucy,
what a lethal granny name.
I know, my Lucinda technically, but
Lucinda.
Lucy for her friends, so everyone's friends here. But she talks about it all the time, like every time we see her, or every time I see her, it's always like, I'm sure loads of people get this from their grannies, whenever you start hitting your late 20s, early 30s, she's like, oh, any woman. She kind of slips it in the middle of, oh, I need to get a bag of coal, need to go to Lidl's. She'll be like, any woman.
Oh, why? But
acting like I didn't, and I'm like, Granny, I think she's got to the stage now where Tim's just doing his own thing.
That's okay.
Because my brother's doing that. Like, he's got, like, he met someone, married, house, blah, blah, blah. And that's for him. No right or wrong. It's not my thing.
There's no textbook when it comes to this thing. And
no, definitely not. But I think it's appreciating and respecting that. I think some people push their own opinions onto other people and being like, you should do this, you shouldn't do that. No.
You should be happy.
There's no, exactly. And don't rush into,
Here's us. We've got our sus. Don't settle, because only dust settles. And lots of people settle, and that's not my opinion to judge, but sometimes when I'm talking to people and they give me advice, and they say, Annette, whatever you do, don't settle. And maybe they have experience of settling in the past, and they didn't trust their gut. They didn't listen to that inner voice that tells them, maybe there's something different here. But the thing is, like, just going back to your granny, like my granny Kitty, we joke about, St. Anne, find that a man. And I'm like, revert, or I'm like, no, let's change the script here. St. Anne, or let's change the saint. Whatever, you know what I mean? It's only a bit of banter now. And thankfully, I've got to that stage in my life where I'm looking forward to meeting someone that's going to be a bonus to my life.
Yeah.
I'm already complete.
A net positive, a net positive. Wow.
There we go. I'm already complete. People talk about finding your other half. Bullshit. Like, in my opinion, it's not about finding your other half. It's you whole, another person whole, coming together and just living a deadly life.
Because if you're finding your other half, that's saying that you can't be happy without someone else.
Well, that's it.
Which isn't true.
In their opinion, it's not true. But I've talked to lots of people about this, and a lot of people do depend on their partners for their happiness, which to me, I can understand, but don't want for me.
No.
I'm not about that life.
No.
But I'm not judging anyone whose partners are their world, because I'm not in that position to be in that position.
Yeah,
do you
don't
get
have
me?
the perspective. The perspective is important
there.
Perspective
is the word of the podcast.
Yeah. No, it definitely is. And I think, I think it's a generational thing too, in terms of the traditional route was so common whenever our grandparents were growing up. Like, it was, you worked, you got married, you got a house, you reared wains,
Try not to let anyone ever tell you that you can't have it all. You can still have the career. You can
absolutely.
still have the good relationship. You can still travel. You can still have the home. You can still have your hobbies. You can still have whatever it is that you want. Sometimes people's perceptions are...
Did you have to sacrifice certain things? You
have to sacrifice. Like, remember when someone said, oh, when you get your home, there's no holidays. And then I think I went through that year. But then realised the following year, no, they're right. And I'll show them. And I was like, oh, shit. They're right. Do you know what I mean? And you're just learning. Like, living is to learn. And I did, I trained with the Irish Life Coach Institute last year, and I had an amazing mentor. His name's Stephen Hunter. Legend, like, absolutely. I have no words for the man. Like, I've no words. I need to do a whole podcast on him, what he's done for me and what I've learned from him. But his big thing of us, our training last year, was win or learn. And I love it. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
Which is so true. You never make a mistake if you learn from it. That's why I always feel like. That's why I always feel, because anytime I look back to a tough time or something that I was like, I wish this wasn't happening, there's always a positive coming out the other end,
And also, first time is a mistake, second time's a choice.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. Put that on the t-shirt. I like that.
Put that in your quote book.
No, it is.
Say.
I know it is. It's very, very true. It's very true. But I know we touched a little bit on Little Penny Thoughts. So we've hit Australia. We've teached.
We've taught. Oh, I love teaching. I loved Miss Kelly's crew. I loved teaching. Like the weigh-ins were what I was all about. But it got to the stage where I cared more about the children's well-being rather than their academic progress.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew that was my time and teaching was up. And also my well-being was affected by the pressures of teaching, which I make no secret about.
Yeah.
I struggled with the demands of teaching. But I believe the work I've done over this past 6-7 years, I could go back a more resilient, strong, level-headed Miss Kelly. So.
Yeah, but do you feel like you were, the fact that you said there that you were taking the kids' well-being, like that was more of an interest to you rather than the curriculum? Do you feel like that was part of the pressure? Were you nearly taking their problems on too, in the sense of trying to teach in that way?
Yes and no, but it goes back to your people pleasing. Pleasing the children, pleasing the parents, pleasing
very easy to burn out.
Staff. Burnout. Have you ever been to Burnout Town?
Oh, I would say, I would say that was probably where my first anxiety kind of stemmed from, in the sense of doing too much too quick, moving to London, hiring someone, like expenses going through the roof from living at home to then living away in London, which is like pure noise all the time, living beside a tube, like constantly moving, never settling.
Not for me.
I feel that, and then I got heart palpitations, and I was like, oh, I know, but you have to. I don't regret doing all that because I still I feel like I could live in a city pretty comfortably, but that was definitely a burnout sense. Like
my first taste of real life, proper responsibility work, coming from Australia, was actually outside London in Kent teaching, and it was the most at my NQT year in teaching. The most stressful year of my life because it was actually real life and I had real responsibilities because I was getting paid to do a job.
No longer just
float McGee. I was actually had real responsibilities now, and it was a wake up call. But also living in a built up area and the busyness of the city. I didn't, even though I didn't live in the city, but we would have been socialising there a lot. It did get to me. It did. And but you only know what you know.
I know.
And you don't regret it because it's character building.
Yeah, facts. Everything is. And it's just a little bit, always constantly learning about yourself. That's what I was saying. Like 2 years ago, I thought I was someone completely different. Now, in 2 years again, I'll learn more things and I'll figure things out. And that's the joy of it though.
That's it. And also being grateful for where you are at the minute, instead of always wanting to be a different version of yourself. You can't fast track yourself to a version you haven't yet earned.
Yeah.
So that's a big key learner for me, is that there's lots I want to do and there's lots I want to accomplish. But why not be happy at the minute of where you're at while you're striving to where you want to go?
Yeah. Love that. I love that.
Love that.
Little Penny Thoughts. Let's go into it a little bit more in the sense of what's the goals for it? Because we obviously we touched on how you started it with your sister, and it came from your own issues, mental health struggles, and even you were saying last year was a tough year. How has that developed, and how is obviously the aim is to always help more and more people. I'm sure that's always been at the forefront of your mind. But where, say, not that I'm a big goal setter or I believe in setting goals, but I think a lot of times it changes and twists and turns. But where do you kind of see the next kind of years going with Little Penny Thoughts, and also with you in general? Because you do a lot of speaking, like Annette Kelly's doing big things.
Yeah,
Little Penny Thoughts.
Little Penny Thoughts. We like to create more products. Add to our
What
range.
Products do you have at the minute? Talk us through them all.
Okay,
You're obviously wearing one around your neck as well.
Yes.
Yeah, nice. Little cloud.
Eagle eye.
I spotted that.
Yes. This is our collaboration with Seek and Find Jewellery. Yeah, that's our wee cloud logo.
Yeah, nice.
Well
I like
spotted there.
No, I've seen it.
Do you like these here? These
Is
are
that...
Thunderbolts. These are not. They're probably like New Look or something.
Oh, I didn't notice them.
But like there's like thunderbolts and clouds,
Oh, nice.
The elements.
Okay.
Okay. That's for you. There's my granny's ring. Just talking through all my
jewelry. Yeah, okay.
McDonough.
Nice.
She passed when I was 3. This is probably New Look.
Lovely.
Anyway, that's it. Okay,
so the leggings are moody.
Leggings are moody,
which is
brilliant.
downstairs. Yeah.
Yes. I don't know where I got this. Anyway, right?
Shoes. It sounds like a TikTok, you know, walk talking to your outfit.
Goals this year. Products.
Products, yes,
Products.
please.
We have
I need to know about the
we have our
products.
3 volumes of our daily calendars,
Yes.
which are our best sellers.
Which I see everywhere.
Class.
Always read the way. My sister's got one. It's one in
Love
Nature and Go. Everywhere I spend time, there's
Love
a little
it.
penny stock
Love it.
calendar.
That makes us really happy because that means that they're being placed in front of people that may or may not need to see it.
Yeah.
There are 3 volumes of our calendars. We have our 1 day at a time yearly diaries.
Mm-hmm.
We have pens.
Nice.
We have notebooks.
Nice.
We have, and sometimes when they're in stock, we have mugs and coasters.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're building on what we want to do. Slowly but surely. We don't have a massive range.
Yeah.
But we pride ourselves on nailing what we have.
Yeah. Instead of just doing everything for the sake of it.
Yeah, it's not about that. It's about nailing it right and getting good quality products that we can stand over.
Yeah.
And that people get good from.
Yeah.
So we have that, and then we're going to work on getting into retail this year.
Nice.
That's
okay.
a big step. So that's hopefully a goal for this year. We also, the other side of what I do is wellness from within.
Yes.
I team up with my brother-in-law, Mark Hart.
Mm-hmm.
He's another personal development coach. So far, we've done theatre tours of the Burnavon and the Struil Arts.
Nice.
But I think we're going to go on the road down south this year and do wellness from within. Another theatre, not a tour, maybe an event. But we want to bring wellness from within. It's like an extension of like kind of Little Penny Thoughts is a written word.
Yeah.
Wellness from within is a spoken word. So go on the road with that.
Yeah.
Highly passionate about in-person events. Absolutely love them. Love chatting to people about their journeys, their stories, and how they optimise their well-being. And usually you find that someone's been through something in order to get them to where they want to be. So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Hearing people's stories and sharing that with people who attend. I want to travel. Well, here's me going into personal.
No, go on.
So that's kind of business. But for me, I want to travel more. I want to go to Bali. I've never been. I know you're a big fan.
I've been.
You've been, have you? Yeah.
I did no
I think I never really mentioned that. You know, But so want to go to Bali. Want to, continue with my sea dips and my cold water therapy and my gymming and also a big one that I haven't mentioned that is coming. I've said it was going to happen in January. There's a wee roadblock, but it's okay. It's going to be February. Is the Little Penny Thoughts podcast.
Yes.
So that's coming, and that's been a long time in the works. But I really struggle with the confidence of actually putting myself out there on a podcast.
Which a lot of people would find probably hard to believe because you're obviously wellness from within. Yes. You're a teacher. You're very confident chatting.
Do you know what it is? It's the technical side.
Oh, really?
The whole rigmarole. But I'm looking around here and I'm seeing the setup. And
I literally just pressed the button.
But this is high tech stuff. Like you have 3 big ass cameras looking at me here. You have the lighting and all. Like mine's going to be a lot more stripped back, but you start somewhere.
100%.
And it's just about, as you say, pressing the button.
Yeah.
So that's this year, and that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah.
And if we're chatting, say, this time next year, and I've achieved most of that, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
But 2023 was a write-off in terms of goal setting and actually pushing myself, whereas 2024 is a year where I actually go and get it.
Yeah. I love that. And that's kind of a mixture between your own personal goals, Little Penny Thought. I know my sister got like a Christmas box for Christmas. She
got the ultimate box.
Is that what it is?
That's the.
I spotted it Christmas morning. Like there was like a book, a diary, and
that's all of our best products bundled into one. And like honest to God, like we have the nicest people, like as supporters, followers, customers that are so kind, so supportive, and you're only as good as the people you have around you, and I'm never complacent.
Yeah.
And I'm so beyond grateful because at the end of the day, if people didn't back you or get behind you, it would be a very lonely road, and I feel very grateful.
Yeah, I love that. That's why I've decided to go with the tagline for this podcast: coffee conversations with cool people.
Are you saying I'm cool?
Well, semi-cool, but no, you are cool.
If I do this?
Okay.
just
Nah.
cool points?
Nah, yeah, nah. Yeah. Nah, no cool points for that. But
No.
slay. But no, that's what Killian kept saying, slay. But
I'm too old to say slay.
No, you're comparison, and saying why? Who said you were too old to say slay?
Exactly. That's just
you probably
a limiting
are,
belief.
but
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it like, but
TBF.
Yeah, TBH. No, I wouldn't say it, but no, it is. It's like I think coffee. Obviously, we had a coffee, had a great chat, and it opens up conversation. And what you said about community there, that's everything. Like
everything.
This is why Bali, solo traveling, blah blah blah. Are you solo?
Solo.
Oh
yeah.
my.
Solo.
World's best
it's something
thing.
I want to
best
do.
thing in the world. Have you ever solo? Australia was solo.
Solo. I am a.
You learn so much about yourself when you solo travel. Like
I'm a wee solo wanderer. I love being around people, but I love having my alone time as well.
Yeah,
that's something that I'm an extroverted introvert.
I get that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say I would be similar. But I feel like you have to enjoy time on your own before you can enjoy time with other people. Because if you're only happy when you're surrounded by people,
then you're relying on
quiet time. Yeah, I feel like that's why a lot of people struggled during COVID, because it was forced alone time. You have to like yourself before you start liking anyone else.
Even that word, hey.
I know.
C word.
I know.
It just gives me
it's floating about at the minute too.
Tapping out.
Anyway, we'll finish talking about that. But I do want to chat about one more thing before we round it off.
Right.
Because comedy. Obviously, you're a very funny woman.
I like it.
When you want
not
to
a
be.
girl, not a lady.
No, a woman.
I'm a woman.
And this podcast, obviously from Dirt Civil days and knowing a lot of comedians, best friends of comedians, it's something that we spoke about the first time we met.
Strangely,
first time I met Annette.
Yeah.
That could be a podcast. You first time you met
Annette.
Annette. Chatting out loud.
Is it a song?
But in terms of, you didn't mention that in your goals for 2024. Just talk to me about what the idea is. This is obviously you being your true self.
So true authentic.
This is something that's coming out of your mind. Not everyone wants to be in comedy.
I love comedy. I get a lot from comedy. I think comedy works hand in hand with well-being. And anytime I do events, I inject comedy into my talks because it's part of me. Mm-hmm. And I know that well-being can be very, not doom and gloom, it can be heavy at times. And sometimes I like to lighten the mood by incorporating a bit of humour. Yeah. But a part of me just says, Annette, would you go down the comedy route? Not even as a career, but even as a hobby, or even as a wee challenge. I would love to do a wee 5-minute stand up. I was actually on Andrew Ryan's podcast there last year, and I said I would love to challenge myself to do a wee Lavery's. But I need to make the connections there. I need to put it out there, and then maybe doing this now is putting it out there. But that would put the fear. That'd put the fear in me. I would really, because
terrifying thing.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Because, I get up and do a talk, but no expectations to make people laugh. But if you're doing comedy, the goal is to make people laugh. But I'm a bit of a banter panther. Is it, no?
Never heard it. Well, I know what you mean.
I love the banter, I love the crack. Yeah. And I'd love to, have to give it a lash,
You won't know until you try it,
and if I do it and fail, I've decided, here's me, I've just went back on myself, but I was gonna do that, Tim, until you mentioned it, do it secretly, so that if I fail and flop, no one would know. But now,
no, but what's the point?
If I fail and flop, everyone will know. But you're frigate.
Aye, well, not
nobody will know.
Not
everyone.
Yeah, not everyone. You're really overarching my my viewership there.
But you know what I mean. But it's not something I'm going to share publicly and be I am now doing comedy, because then they'll be here, that blade's in everywhere but the crib. Yeah. This is something.
Instagram Annette Kelly, comedian.
Yes, I want to do something. For me, I enjoy I love making people laugh. It's my favourite thing to do. I love laughing. I love the banter. I've some clinker of stories. Some deadly yarns. Whether they'd understand my accent, my culture accent or not, is a different story. Maybe I'll have to tone it down, will I?
No. See, you're already thinking of excuses in your mind.
I know, but maybe
you don't know until you give it a bash.
Yeah, but do you?
It's not something I would ever want to do.
Right, but is it something you think that I would be good at?
I think you've all the potential to be here. I'm no comedy critic. I spend a lot of time at comedy shows purely just because of my friends and go to a lot of gigs, and
Here,
but everyone has a bad
link me in.
But of course I will to introduce you to all the people you need to know. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of amazing comedians have horrific gigs.
Oh, I
that's going to happen. Again, you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And there could be some gigs where you're in a room full of people that aren't don't like you, or just don't like your style. Because you said you want to tell stories. You say you want to tell stories. Some comedians are one-liners, punchy comics. I get some of the best comedians in the country: Shane Todd, Gaddis, McCann, all these people. I know people that don't like all of them. I don't know them personally, but I've heard people say, "Oh, he's not my cup of tea. He's not my cup of tea." The comments on YouTube videos are like, "Oh, this guy's
Paddy McDonald.
Paddy McDonald, yeah.
He makes me howl.
Yeah.
So does Shane Todd.
And someone else might not like them people at all, but that's
okay.
Comedy is just highlighting what we said about not being everyone's cup of tea. Yeah. Comedy will highlight it. I guess it's just having an online presence will highlight it because there's loads of people that are online and spreading great positivity. And I always think of Daniel, who's been on the podcast, Daniel Dargan, who's out in his boxers in the middle of the sea shouting woo, really positive. A lot of people won't like that because whether it's a projection of they think he's too loud or they think this or they think that or he's being himself, he's not everyone's cup of tea. Just like I'm not everyone's cup of tea, you're not everyone's cup of tea. But
true story.
You don't want to be everyone's cup of tea.
But sure, everyone's not your cup of tea.
Exactly. So but that's a goal for 2024 then. We've put it out there now, so that's quite exciting.
You've pulled that goal out of me, but it is definitely an ambition for a bit of crack.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Give it a go. And I'll be there in the audience.
It's a year of fun. It's a year of fun.
Yeah, it'll be great. And it's gonna be a great year. It's gonna be a great year. Anything I always like ending the podcast. We've done an hour and 40 of great slabbering, positive slabbering yarns. What from all your life experience and everything that you've kind of been through, that you've learned about yourself, learned about everything that you've done, ups, downs, twists, turns, what advice would you give someone, not of a certain age, but just someone that is listening to this podcast? Because I always like to end it with something that sticks out in your mind. It could be a little thing, it could be a big thing.
So, can I do two things?
Here. Oh, absolutely.
I'll narrow it down.
As if I just went no.
There's a lot floating about in my head.
Yeah, two things.
So one hard-hitting one, there's been a lesson in my 30s.
Yeah.
Is that trust is not given, it's earned. Trust is not given, it's earned. And the second piece of advice that I would like to take on board for myself is to appreciate everything you are rather than all that you're not.
Nice. So think about what you already are instead of looking for. Okay, I like that. That's really good. I love that. Is that in your book?
Potentially not. Actually, you're right. Give me a pen. No, it's definitely something that I really am passionate about because I always searched out of myself what I'm not and what I need to be instead of actually just appreciate yourself for who you are rather than always searching for what you're not or always picking and poking at yourself, and just be kind to yourself because from the minute you wake up in the morning to the minute you go to bed at night, you're with yourself and your thoughts. So you might as well be dead on to yourself, and that is my key message in every talk that I do.
Damn. Be dead on to yourself. I like that.
Be dead on to yourself.
I love that. Annette, thank you so much for coming in. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Anytime.
We'll run it again. Sometimes season 3 we'll run it again. Keep having you back.
When I smash all these goals, invite me back, and then you'll be like, well,
until you do comedy, we're not recording again. So
fair.
We'll talk about it in the next episode. But appreciate you coming in. Guys, remember to do all the good stuff. Like, share, subscribe. Annette, where can they find you? At Little Penny Thoughts.
You can find me at little_penny_thoughts. And you know what? This year I'm doing a wee bit of TikTok. So
go on. Same thing?
No, just Annette Kelly over in TikTok.
Just Annette Kelly.
It's
nice.
kind of my safe space to have bands.
Nice. Annette Kelly, 2 N's, 2 T's. Is
money.
it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I thought I got it wrong there. But no, go follow Annette. Incredible. Like, buy a little book. Go buy a notebook. Go support it. No, they are.
Not.
Or you don't
please
have to. If you listen to
not.
this podcast and took one thing from it, be that onto yourself. If you just take that, that's our job done. Not that this is a job. This is just chat.
It's just chat.
It's just chat. But I always like to think that's what the whole coffee conversations with cool people came from. Everyone has a story.
Taking my
We're not better. Yeah, I don't forget that. We're not better than anyone. No one's better than anyone. It's just if you take a little bit from it, if you take loads from it, whatever. That's all we want. But look, enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you're up to. Don't forget to grab a coffee, get your steps in, get inspired, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.
Amigos.
Amigos.